Welcome back to Cigar Time, your Tuesday night show all about cigars. We're still number one with a bullet. I'd like to give someone, oh, never mind. You missed it. We just came back in between shooting shows from a beautiful repast at Barbecue right up the street. And some of us had pizza, some of us had barbecue pizza, some of us had salads. Guys, what did you all have? What did you enjoy?
I had a salad and a pizza.
And a pizza?
And a pizza.
Did you really?
I did.
Wow.
I really
And you
did.
found it to be?
It was a great combination.
Oh, okay.
It was good. I mean, of course, I love my pizza.
What kind of
well,
pizza?
barbecue pizza.
Rob?
I only get it once a month when I come down.
What was on the pizza?
It was like rib. Was it rib? It was like barbecue.
Yeah, it was
Brisket.
ribs,
They put
yeah, and
brisket.
onions.
Oh, a
They
brisket
put
with,
brisket on
with
it, yeah.
caramelized onion, and it was so much cheese. Oh my god!
Barbecue
So I gained 5 pounds. Thank you.
No, that's not part of the deal.
Oh my god.
Rob, what'd you
I
have?
just
Smoke
had
it
a
off.
salad with
Oh, you
pulled
had your
pork.
usual.
I had my usual salad with pulled pork. It's very good.
Interesting. Pulled pork.
I'm sorry,
salad.
pulled chicken. Pulled chicken.
Pulled chicken.
Pulled chicken.
It was pulled something
It was
or
pulled
another.
something.
Salad with choke chicken. Never mind.
Scott, you
I had the brisket with the sautéed spinach.
and I had a couple slices of pie, one the meat lover and one just a plain. I just love the plain pizza. Anyway, let's get back to the cigar. They
What
was
about Paul?
Paul didn't eat.
I smoked my
Oh,
lunch.
he worked there.
Paul was
He
hard
smoked his
working.
lunch.
He was working hard.
he was
He was
out
out in the fields. He
I
was
forgot
I
about
had
it.
to, no, I had
He was
to
in the
squeeze
field.
in 2 cigars while you guys were eating, just so that
No,
I
you
could be
didn't. Smoked 2
calm.
cigars.
And
I think it's time.
relax.
I think we should sort of
He has
start
to meet
rolling
his
the show
12
about
cigar
cigars
quota.
here. Needless to say, we had a great repast.
Great lunch.
Tia, I think it's time for you to tell us about our first cigar, our only cigar.
Yeah, our only cigar is
The
the
one and
CAO
only.
La Traviata. The wrapper's Ecuadorian. The binder is Cameroon, which is one of Rob's favorite.
Yeah.
And the filler is Nicaraguan and Dominican.
That's my favorite binder too.
Is it really?
Favorite
The
binder.
sizes are kind of interesting. It's a 5
pretty good nuts.
5/8 by 46, 5 by 50, 5.5 by 52, 7 by 54, a 4.5 by 50, and a 6 by 52.
221.
Interesting
220.
sizes. And the tastes are notes of cedar, leather, black pepper, cream, and roasted nuts.
You
Ah,
sure it's not roasted nuts? That's what it says.
Roasted nuts. Rob likes roasted nuts.
I forgot.
I like Rasta nuts. I'm
I forgot
sorry.
the A.
Rasta.
Was that a fly?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's,
there's a fly in here.
there's a fly on the
There's a
set.
damn fly.
is he in my soup?
Not yet.
Aha.
As long as he doesn't get next to my drink.
Scott, since La Traviata is a general cigar product, and since
yeah.
this month May is General Cigar Month, where we're featuring a lot of their products, you think is it okay if I tell them what we're featuring this month?
Aye.
Okay. Is that yes? Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Aye. All this month, the month of May, you go into any of the 9 cigar stores, which are located in.
Horsham, Colmar, Phoenixville, Reading, Oxford Valley, Freehold, New Jersey, Fraser, Ludwig's Corner, Westchester.
Wow, she did it without counting on
And
her
I did
fingers.
without
I know.
Yeah,
counting.
you
Oh,
were
she
counting
did.
on your fingers
No, I
last
I told you I do without counting.
That was
And I was
damn
almost all in
impressive.
order.
You did,
Screwed
yeah,
up a
right,
little
yeah, you forgot
bit.
Well,
Westchester.
all
Yeah.
this month, you buy any 4, either Macanudo, Partacas, Hoyo de Monterrey, or Punch, and you buy 4 and get 1 free. The 1 free will be the least expensive of the bunch, or just an extra one if you're buying all the same
Are we
model.
including CAO in that?
What's that?
Are we including CAO?
We'll include CAO. Throw CAO in as well.
Okay.
Now, if that's not enough, we're going to have throughout the month a number of daily and weekly specials on specific models, which we are not allowed to say the price right now because the price is so good that we just can't, we don't want the weight of the world to come crashing down on us. So you'll have to stay tuned or look at the website or go into the stores or just find it somehow. Just
What
go
is that
door to
website?
door and search.
What is that website?
Oh, the website? It's, anybody know?
cccigars.com
That's
Double
ccigars.com. Okay.
with an S.
Paul, I think it's time for you to come in from the cold,
Yes,
like a
please.
good Russian spy.
Wrap up on rappers.
And wrap up
Wrap
on
up
rappers.
it. Give
That
you the
was-
rapper
Ah,
wrap up. Oh boy, you've been
God.
waiting for that
That's
one,
very
haven't
good.
you?
How
He
many
was
years
waiting
you been
for
holding
that.
off on that one?
So when we last met, we were talking about Sumatra, and now moving down our list, we come to what is Rob's favorite rapper, and that's Cameroon.
Thank you.
And my favorite binder.
That's actually the only kind of tobacco that comes from Africa. Comes from
Why'd you look at
Cameroon,
me?
which is a country in Africa.
Say that.
And there is a very small amount of Cameroon grown elsewhere. I think I mentioned last week that we did some long-term breeding experiments on Cameroon in Ecuador, and there's a tiny bit of Cameroon actually grown in Nicaragua as well.
Why do you think that is? That nowhere else?
It's a
Grows it.
hard tobacco to grow. It's a hard tobacco to work with.
It's very, very
It's
fragile.
the most fragile tobacco out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. It's also got the most taste, in my opinion.
Well,
That's why. I mean, that's why I like it. But I think it
it's
has the
been
most
called the
taste.
king of wrappers. And
That's all it should be.
And the reason they call it that is that it has a very distinctive flavor, but it's a flavor that doesn't clash with anything. Cameroon has a light white pepper characteristic, and you know it when you're smoking it. No matter
Yeah.
what it's blended
Yes.
with, you know you're smoking Cameroon, but it blends really nicely with virtually any other combination of tobaccos you want to use. Cameroon has been on again, off again, very popular for a long time. And I think back when we were talking about countries, we talked about the fact that at one time there was one guy roaming around Africa, sort of like Johnny Appleseed, establishing tiny 1-acre Cameroon tobacco plantations all over the country. So there's that. The next on our list, and what has actually been, in terms of volume, the best-selling wrapper ever, basically, is Connecticut Shade. Regardless of where it's grown, and these days it's grown in a lot more places than Connecticut. In fact, virtually every place that grows Connecticut seed wrapper grows more of it than the state of Connecticut does. But that's mostly popular because it's light, it's not intimidating, it is a little bit fragile, it blends well with other tobaccos, especially milder ones, and it's kind of typically an innocuous flavor. There isn't a lot of flavor in a Connecticut wrapper, and that's why traditionally it was very popular with Americans, because we weren't yet used to strong cigars.
You know what? I think you should tell people why it's called Connecticut Shade. People think it's because of the color.
Ah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Connecticut Shade is called that because in order to get it to be light and very consistent in color, they put cheesecloth or canvas, almost like tents, over the top of the whole plantation. They're called tapas, which means tops. And basically that makes the plant grow in the shade. There's no direct sunlight hitting those plants at all. That keeps spots away, it keeps color variation away, and that's why it's called Connecticut Shade. And it is grown that way everywhere except Ecuador, which is the biggest producer of Connecticut Shade these days. And there is so much cloud cover so much of the year that they don't need to put up the tapas. There's very little direct sunlight during the growing seasons anyway.
Paul, is that why the Ecuadorian grown Connecticut Shade, so to speak, is a little bit darker than the tapas covered?
Typically, Ecuadorian Connecticut Shade is a little darker because it's not under a shade. That also means, even though it doesn't get real dark, it's still Connecticut Shade. Ecuadorian tends to be a little thicker and a little less fragile than Connecticut Shade grown in
And
Connecticut.
I think that gives it more taste.
It does. And if you smoked a Connecticut cigar and the same cigar with an Ecuadorian Connecticut side by side, you'd know the difference right away. Since we're in Connecticut anyway, we're talking about
Really, I was
Connecticut.
going to say.
Yeah, we move fast. We should also talk about broadleaf.
love that
Broadleaf is a very different kind of wrapper. It's actually a very different kind of tobacco plant. It typically grows shorter. The plant itself grows much shorter than other kinds of tobacco. The leaves tend to be very big. That's why it's called broadleaf. The leaves tend to be very thick. They ferment really well. And Connecticut broadleaf is still, when you can get it, the Maduro wrapper of choice throughout the industry.
Yes.
There have been many experiments attempting to grow broadleaf in other countries. None of them have met with any kind of success. The only other broadleaf that's begun to have some success is the Pennsylvania broadleaf, which was sort of pioneered by Rocky Patel in their Patel Brothers line when they first came out with that.
Fantastic cigar.
And now a lot of other brands are beginning to experiment with the use of Pennsylvania broadleaf. Should I keep going?
Yeah, keep going.
Well, the next one is one that we've talked about also, and that's Corojo. Corojo is a nice, rich, full-bodied wrapper, traditionally out of Cuba, and as I think we've mentioned a few times before, the Christian Iroa's family, the originators of the Camacho brand, were the first to bring Corojo seeds out of Cuba and grow them in Honduras. It's always been known as a wrapper for full-bodied cigars, and that remains true today, although Corojo is now grown in a lot more countries than just Honduras. So there is Nicaraguan Corojo, there is actually Dominican Corojo. They've done some really interesting experiments with Corojo in Mexico, and they're growing it in Ecuador now as well. But Corojo is distinguished by being kind of thick, very oily, and really nicely full-bodied.
Isn't it kind of reddish in hue as well?
It's typically a rosado in color. The base color of Corojo is
We're smoking one next
rosado.
week, as a matter of fact.
Which
The
one? is
Rosado?
smoke?
No, the punch,
that's rare.
Punch Rare Corojo.
Oh, the rare.
Which is a little darker.
Yeah, well,
than
it's rare.
Paul, in wrappers, can one distinguish? I mean, is there any way to distinguish the taste of various wrappers without necessarily having the bunch under it? No, when they're grading tobacco, when they're grading the various forms of wrappers and such, how do they know the taste profile of that particular wrapper or those plantings of wrappers?
Typically, the blender will take a few samples from a couple of hands out of that bale. What they do is they chew on it.
Right.
They sometimes will stretch it and light it on fire and smell it,
Yep,
and
yep.
and that gives them a good sense of what the flavor profile of that particular batch of wrapper is going to be like. And then within a given bale, as they sort by color, since all the tobacco in that bale is going to be the same kind of tobacco, they will still sort it by color, and they know that as they move up and down the color spectrum in that bale, the lighter ones are going to be a little bit milder. They'll have the same flavor profile, just a little less of it, and the darker ones, the oilier ones, will have more of whatever that flavor happens to be.
What would you say if you took various wrappers and put them around a very light bunch? In other words, a bunch that was made for a much lighter taste, and notice more what the wrapper were to taste like. What would you notice? Which are the stronger ones? Which are the milder ones?
Well,
which are the more tasty ones?
Let's go this way.
I know it's a tough question, but
Although I haven't finished the list, I'll tell you that amongst wrappers in general, the biggest flavors come from Corojo, San Andres, Mexican, Matafina from Brazil,
yeah,
and
say that.
Ecuadorian Sumatra at the strong end of the spectrum. Sun-grown Sumatra. Those are the ones that are going to give you the biggest
The oomph.
oomph.
Now, how about for taste?
Well,
Distinguishable taste.
Distinguishable taste, I always go with Ecuadorian Sumatra. Criollo has a very distinctive, light, almost tea kind of note to its flavors. Corojo, as I mentioned, is just big flavor. It's a lot of flavor. And Habano has a real peppery character to it.
A lot of people like that sweet finish, and I also get it from either a Criollo or a Cameroon. Is that in the whole course?
That and Habano.
Habano, okay.
Nicaraguan Habano tends to have a sweetish finish. And beyond that, a lot of sweet flavors that you get out of a wrapper come from how it's processed.
Right.
So a more fermented Maduro version of any one
yeah.
of these wrappers
Absolutely,
is going to
yeah.
be
Yeah,
sweeter.
sweeter,
Yeah.
right.
I don't get that from the Cameroon though. I don't
Oh,
get
I
a
do.
sweet
I
finish.
do.
I don't
I
get that.
definitely do.
It's more dry to my palate.
Really?
Oh, the older,
Yeah.
for some reason, maybe you could be right of the modern day cigars, but I remember years gone by, especially in the CAO line, those early CAO Cameroons had a nice sweet finish
I
to
always
them.
got a peppery taste, a real, like Paul said,
Yeah.
a white pepper taste.
That's the wonderful
Yeah.
thing about smoking cigars, people.
Yeah.
Different,
They all taste
yeah,
different.
they
to
all taste
everybody.
different.
It's all subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, we'll save some more for next week. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you.
I think it's time for us to talk about the La Traviata and get everybody's comments and ratings on that. Comments first, ratings second. Tia, you want to start out?
Yeah, this has been out for a couple years now, for a while. I've always was a big, a fan of it. Not so much now as I was before. You can definitely taste the Dominican tobacco in here. I mean, it has like its own distinct flavor. I can definitely taste that there's Dominican tobacco. The band is gorgeous as usual. I'm getting some roasted nuts, a little bit of leather, and it is very creamy on the palate. Yeah.
Rob?
Is it?
Yeah.
When I first light this up, I get for some reason, I'm getting a little waxy taste to it. I don't know what that's from, Paul. What gives you that waxy taste? Nice.
Too much cigar glue on the cigar, maybe?
He made an
I don't
ash.
know. I get a waxy taste.
Not creamy?
When I lit
A lot more
this
oil in
up.
a cigar, could be.
It could be more oil. I'm not sure, but I get a waxy
Well,
taste.
you might want to try using a lighter instead of a wax candle
Yeah,
to
it
light
could
it.
be, yeah. I do get the leather. I do get the black pepper taste. It is smooth. It is creamy.
Yeah.
But it's not as good as it used to. It used to when it first
I didn't
came
want
out.
to say that.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not as
it
good.
does.
But this cigar came out from CAO 2 or 3 years ago as a inexpensive cigar. They want everybody else was raising their prices. CAO came out with this La Traviata on the lower end. Like this cigar we're smoking right now is the Divino. It's only $4.95,
Yeah.
and it hasn't changed.
No,
price.
it hasn't changed.
Well, it's a
And
bargain in
it's,
today
it's
for
bargain.
us.
And since then, all the other companies are trying to mirror that.
Yeah.
Trying
It's
to come
just-
up with
yeah,
cigars
same-
at that kind
a
of price
very good
point.
cigar that's inexpensive, and a lot of them are failing. So
Paul?
This cigar, in terms of its overall flavor, is a little light for my taste. The elements are there. I taste the wrapper. I taste that great white pepper from the Cameroon binder.
Taste that Dominican.
It's all there, especially the roasted nuts. There's just not a whole lot of flavor. That's what
It's
I'm
not
finding.
your kind of cigar.
No.
No, I kind of knew that. Scott?
It is kind of narrow dimensional. I agree. When this cigar came out, I loved it when it first came
Yeah,
out.
absolutely.
I still think it's a good cigar.
It is a very good
but I
cigar.
don't think it is what it was.
No.
And, I will say that I'm getting a lot of like smoke. It's
Yeah.
coating my whole palate.
It's easy to smoke.
Yeah, I'm
Very
mostly getting, but I am mostly getting spice. Like I feel spice like covering my whole tongue.
Well, there's just so you know, there's a reason for that. Ecuadorian tobacco tends to have a black pepper spice that
Yeah.
hits the front of your tongue, and the Cameroon binder. I mean, in this case, it's a binder, but Cameroon leaf in
in
general
there, yeah.
has the white pepper taste that hits the middle and the back of your tongue.
Yeah.
So when you put those two together, you get a pepper element that runs your entire palate.
Right. Yeah. But, and I am getting a lot of the. We mentioned leather. I'm getting
Yeah.
a distinct leather flavor
Yeah.
from it.
As for me, as a retailer, I appreciate the value the cigar has. It's certainly not a $20 cigar, but you're paying less than $5 for it, so the expectation at that price level of $4.95, it's a very good cigar for $4.95. It's not a barn burner. If you're expecting a full body monster, it's far from it. But it's an easy draw, a lot of smoke. You get the pepper, and again, the price point. So, for those reasons, I kind of like it. Would it be my everyday, 10 times a day cigar? No, it wouldn't be. But it's for a reasonable smoke at a decent price, very good.
I would like to see you smoke anything 10 times.
Yeah, you won't. You won't. Even in Cuba, I don't smoke them 10 in a day, although I have a few times.
Do you find a big flavor difference between this one and the Maduro La Traviata?
I prefer this one over the Maduro.
I do as well.
Although I like Maduro wrappers better.
Yeah, I think they're different, and
They
I
are
do
very
like
different.
this one a lot better.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I guess it's time to rate it. The
gonna
lovely
start
Miss
with me?
Tia will give her rating
Well,
to it.
factoring the price point that
Well,
you
that's
so
important.
much, keep talking about, I'm gonna go with a 4. Solid
Okay.
4.
All right, solid 4.
Maybe 2 years, 3 years ago, I would have made it a little
No,
higher.
I got it.
but
And remember, the rating is 1 to 5, so
Solid 4.
I hate doing this.
Uh-oh.
I absolutely agree with Taya.
He hates agreeing with me.
A couple years ago, when this cigar first came out, I would have given it a higher rating. To me, it just doesn't taste the same anymore. It is a very good cigar, especially for the price. I'd have to go with a 4 also.
Paul?
Well, I hate to agree with Rob,
I know this is killing you.
but I'd give it a 4 also.
Oh, wow.
And
Scott?
I hate to agree with Paul.
Who hates to agree with
just,
Rob?
We just don't love each other
Apparently
so
everybody
much.
loves Tia.
Yay.
Nobody hates to disagree with her.
I just said that.
Hey,
or
Rob
agree.
always
Oh,
disagrees.
you said
Yeah.
you hate to? Oh, okay.
Do you
I
listen
will-
to the show?
You're my deaf ear.
For the price, I would. If this was priced $1 more, it wouldn't get a 4. But I'll give it a 4. If it was priced higher, it
Yeah.
might get like a
Yeah.
3.75.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something like that.
Well, again, don't want to be contrary. It's a good solid 4 cigar. And just so everybody knows where we're coming from with this cigar, a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's an under $5 cigar. It's an easy smoke. It's not going to blow anybody away, but it's an enjoyable smoke. It's easy to draw on the cigar and keep lit. It has all the good values that a cigar should have at a very value price. So a good solid 4.
Well,
is-
it's not
Why
like
did
we're
the
saying
taste
it's a bad
change
cigar.
so-
It's a
Why-
very good cigar.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, it's
But
not
why,
like I would-
why did it
that-
change though? Like, some people might ask
does.
that. It
Well,
just does.
you know, tobacco is a crop that's a
Yeah.
little bit different every year, and more expensive cigars, they will go
Yeah,
through the
yeah.
effort of altering the blend to adjust for changes year to year in the crop. In a less expensive cigar, once they blend it, they're done.
Okay.
And don't forget, this month is General Month. So this cigar, as well as many, many others, will be a buy 4, get the least expensive one free, plus there'll be many other,
And it is a good cigar to buy.
it is. Absolutely.
especially if you buy it 4 in
Yeah,
one.
it's not like I would go out of my way not to buy it.
Right,
I would,
exactly.
I would buy it on.
It sells.
It would be
It
in my
sells like
regular
crazy in
rotation.
Reddit.
No, nobody.
And I think it's worth pointing out, as a CAO, it's excellently constructed.
Yes.
Yeah.
It draws well, it smokes
general
well, it
cigar.
burns straight,
Yeah, they know how to make
and
cigars.
it's consistent. Not from a few years ago,
It is,
but
though, yeah.
now, currently, if you pick up a La Traviata today and you pick up another one tomorrow, they're going to taste the same.
It does sell very well.
Oh, they-
The Traviata line sells
do
very,
sell
very,
very,
well.
very well.
Absolutely.
And it has a
think
really,
it's
it
actually
has a
getting
nice white ash.
It's getting
Spicier.
better.
It is getting better.
It's
It's
Once
getting
you
better.
get towards the
Spicier.
middle, right?
It's a little more.
When you get down to the $2.75 mark, it's really fucking
Oh,
good.
that's great. I never heard that before.
You know me, everything's measured in money. It's a
So-
smell of money.
There's actually a message for all of you in Scott's comment, and the message is don't judge a cigar by the first few puffs or even the first half of it, because
You gotta stay with it.
well-made,
Yeah.
well-made cigars
Absolutely.
develop as you smoke them, and sometimes they change a lot.
There are some cases
Sometimes
where
they're
they're
designed,
great.
they're blended that way.
Right,
Yes.
and sometimes at the beginning of the cigar, a lot of times I like that better, and as I smoke it, I don't like it as much. But
Right.
this is the opposite.
It is getting better. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Scott, we have a few minutes left. Do you have a topic you want to share with us?
Yeah, we actually one of the things we want to do is talk about new stuff that you have in the store. We just got a huge shipment from Drew Estate. We've got an expanded. We've got, for you that love those infused, we've got an expanded acid line. Not only do
true.
we have we've always had the Cuba Cubas and the Blondies.
Blondies,
right,
Now we've got a Cuba Maduro. We've got the Extraordinary Larry.
1400 cc.
1400 cc, which has been the Blondie Bellicoso we have. So we've got a hugely expanded acid line. We've also added the natural, which is it's an infused, it's a sweeter cigar. And you may know it from the root, the dirt. There's a new one called the English, which
Yeah,
I had
the
the other day,
English.
which was pretty good.
Was
It's
it?
like you know
That's
what?
a big cigar.
If it wasn't for the sweet tip, I would like it more. But that's something that like a lot of people like. It's
They
not-
like that.
I like
yeah.
that.
Not-
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it had an interesting flavor. And similar to that, we also have the Tobacco Especial, which is another infused.
Yeah,
That's
Right.
a coffee infused.
Coffee
Coffee
infused.
infused, yeah.
It's similar to the Java, but I think I like it a little bit better.
Because Java's more kind of chocolatey.
Yeah,
Right,
this one's
yeah.
and it has that sweetness to it. We've got that both in natural and Maduro.
Don't forget, we're now an appointed Liga Privada.
Yes.
I'm getting
He's
it.
getting
Oh,
it.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Saving the best for
You know
last.
which one I like from the? Again, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I really like the Nica Rustica.
Oh, that was it was my
Was that
next
your next
one.
one?
Yeah,
That's a very good cigar.
I did not. The first time I had it, I didn't like it. The second
Really?
one I had, I really, really enjoyed.
I smoked
that
one here
cigar.
the other day with Caroline. It was very, very good.
They're flying.
They are,
They're so
and they're inexpensive too.
one size. It's a
Yeah, it's one size. It's
Yeah,
like a Toro.
it's a Toro.
It's like a thin Toro.
Yeah, a little.
Yeah.
yeah.
Very good.
And the Hoya de Nicaragua has made a return. We have both the Antonio
Yeah.
and the Dark Corojo.
Yeah,
And
that is
Dark
really
Corojo is
Dark,
flying off the
Dark
shelves
Corojo
already.
is really good.
Flying off the shelves.
We have the La Vieja in some stores, and I should also note that not all of these are available in
Yeah, I
every
was going to
store.
say note
Right.
that.
But
They're limited.
they're limited. We have La Vieja. I know that's in Reading, I believe.
Yeah,
Yes.
the La Viejas.
Yeah, the lobby is in Reading.
Unfortunately, it's not in Colmar. One of it. We also have the Undercrown, and the Coup de Gras is the Liga Privada.
Yeah.
So we've
I
got
don't
a
have
number
any
of
of
sizes.
those.
As everybody knows, they're difficult to come by.
They are.
We're getting more than our share, though.
We have some.
Don't say
we,
that. They'll stop sending them to us.
Nah, they'll keep sending.
Nah.
They
We
will.
also got right in the middle of their cycle of
Right.
not producing them, but
Distribution.
distributing them. So we caught at the end. So the beginning of the next cycle is coming up soon, and we'll have probably a lot more
We'll have a
sizes.
good selection of those.
I also believe, don't quote me, but we'll have some of the rarest stuff, the feral pigs and the.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will.
I want to issue a warning about the Liga Privadas that we have. If you think you might like them, get into the store and buy them soon because I might smoke them all up myself.
You know what? I should also mention it's the number 9.
The number 9, yes.
Yes.
Liga number 9.
Correct. Several different sizes.
By the time,
No, I'm glad they're back.
by the time the
too.
sh- by,
Absolutely.
by the time the show
I'm glad
airs,
the Hoya de Nicaragua.
we may have more sizes.
They are good.
Yeah, more than
T52s.
likely. Oh, and the Undercrown. We have the
Yeah.
Undercrown.
We have the
yeah,
Undercrown,
which is
yeah.
kind of like.
And don't forget,
Liga
we're now
Junior.
carrying a full line, breadth, and depth of Nat Sherman.
Absolutely.
Nat
Oh,
Sherman's,
Sherman's
yeah.
Is Reading going to get some Nat Sherman?
I can't believe
Yeah.
we're coming to the end of time. I mean, not the end of
The end
time.
of time.
The end of
Not
time.
the end of time is life.
The end of
Wait
our
a minute,
time.
The
was
end
it
of
the
our
end of
time.
time in October
The end of
last year?
cigar time.
Something like that.
December 21st.
So,
Was it?
2 years ago.
and don't forget, all May is General Cigar Month. Tremendous bargains on brands like Macanudo, Partagas, Punch, Hoyo, CAO,
Excalibur.
etc., Excalibur.
Yeah. And pay attention to your emails. You'll find out more
Boulevard.
about the
Make
weekend
sure.
Send
specials.
in your
We'll have bigger
emails.
deals.
Make sure you're on our email list by going to our website, which is CCcigar.com. Well,
That's
folks,
CC Cigar.
cigar.com. Time to say goodbye.
Bye
Ladies
bye for
first.
now. Hi, Dad.
Ciao for now, everybody.
Smoke often and smoke happy.
Life's too short to smoke cheap cigars.
Why do you have to pause? He always has to pause.
Wow.
Yeah, I got to work with these people. Well, again, thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your viewership. And we'll see you next week.